I'm Jennifer Bryant, and we are here in the Work Together sessions with my special writing program called Write On. Write on with an exclamation point, because I like to use that phrase. I say right on a lot when I love something or agree with something. And I feel like it's a fun play on words to be like, right, just keep writing on. Because if you want to be a writer, you got to write, right? Right. Okay, so today is our first workshop that I'm presenting called Discover Your Writing Rhythm. And we're going to keep it pretty short today because we're only going to hit on a few points. I'm going to share a little bit about my personal experience as a writer with you. And if you want to know more about what I do, you can go to practicalfamily.org and check out the first few menu items there and find out more, a little bit about my background and everything like that. So we're going to dive into this. And I just first want to say that every writer is motivated by very different things. Okay, it takes time and practice to develop and find your personal rhythm. Keyword is practice. You know, I think we tend to turn away from things that are related to discipline sometimes, especially when we're very creative, multi-passionate people, because passion and discipline doesn't always feel like it automatically goes together. But if you want to get good at something, it has to be done over and over. That's how we learn. That's how our bodies are made. That's how our brains are made. And as an educator, I can tell you that as I teach my kids every day, stuff doesn't sink in the first time, right? We know, and they know, and I have to remind them often that they're not going to be automatically good at everything that they try, but they have to keep doing it over and over. That goes with handwriting practice. That's why I develop handwriting printables for Practical Family and homeschool moms like that. That's why we practice meeting together often with our writers group. That's why I encourage moms to keep trying to connect with other moms and get integrated in their community, because even practice in relationships makes perfect, right? No, not perfect. We're still all very imperfect, but practice in relationships builds the confidence that we need to keep moving forward. The same is true with writing. So success builds success. And as we keep showing up for ourselves successfully, we'll start to see that the things that are on our minds and on our hearts to write about will come to fruition, or they'll come to the surface enough that we can deal with them here, because now they're on screen or on paper or wherever we're putting our writing, right? But at first we have to start with getting it out of our heads and onto something outside of our heads. There's this thing among many people, and not everyone works this way, but I think you'll find that as you keep following me and keep being involved in the work together sessions, that if you are a social learner, that's probably why you were attracted to the work together sessions. Not everyone is a social learner. Some like to write in isolation, some focus better that way. But if you find that you are more motivated by working in a group with other people, there's a good reason for that. It's probably a big part of your personality, a big part of what's going to motivate you to get to the next step and the next level. And that's why I'm here for you. That's what we're here for. And we love it. We love to show up imperfectly and continue on the journey that we care about. We don't see the full road ahead. Only God sees that. But God has put these things on your heart for a reason. All right. Do you believe it? Do you trust it? All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about how to discover our writing rhythm. First of all, decide when you work best. What time of day, morning, noon, and night, morning times generally. Then we're going to talk about breaks during the day and then late night. I have done all three and everything in between. And I've discovered that my head is more clear first thing in the morning before my kids wake up. Okay, I have a 12 and 13-year-old now, so they're not up jumping on my bed like they used to when they were toddlers. But I have enough time. If I get up, mostly I get up as early as 6:30 to do writing, at least for an hour. And by the time they get up, you know, we're doing life together. We're getting school started or our morning routines together. But I find that morning times just are very refreshing for me, because it's a new day. It smells different in the morning for some reason. When I open the doors, I can smell the earth and the wind, and it's a whole experience for me sometimes, versus when I'm in the middle of a day and I can take that time to rest, or really I kind of steal moments here and there throughout the day when I can, when the kids are doing practice or music lessons, or when they're just outside of my purview or my care, I can take a little bit of time to squeeze in a bit more writing. And so that's how I tend to work things in this busy season of my life. So, and then late nights, similarly, if you find that, you can think once things are calmed down in the day, kids are asleep, people are asleep, you can kind of hole up in a space or in a corner in your office or in your room or something and really get words out in the nighttime, then do it. Whatever you find works for you, try it. Just try it for a season and allow it to work for you, or allow it to show you that, maybe a different time would work better. There's also different times for different seasons as well. One season mornings may work fabulously, and others you need more sleep in the morning, and midday or nights will be better. Just decide for a particular length of time. Just start by giving yourself a week. See how it goes for a week or just a few days. Whatever small increment of time you can use as a baseline to show yourself that, okay, I'm going to keep showing up, keep these promises to myself. And that leads me into the next point. So, number one, discover what time of day is best for you. Number two, decide to make an appointment with yourself and actually show up to that appointment. Put it literally in your calendar, on whether you use a Google digital calendar, or it's on your phone calendar, or if you use a paper one, put in as if you were making a doctor's appointment or some other kind of important appointment. Make it that important that it goes in your calendar, that you assign time to it, and that you show up for yourself. The writing is not going to get done unless you honor the promises you make to yourself. Okay. While you're in your appointment, maybe what's gotten you down before is that, okay, sit down, but it just takes me a while to get into a groove. And then once I start, like I already have to be done or whatever. I get it. Okay. So here are some tools that you can use within your writing time. Timers work very, very well for me. I have something called a time timer on my phone. I'll pull it up for you real quick. But I love it because they have digital versions of this, and then they have actual physical versions of, and we have one over here too, of a timer that you can twist, and it shows you how much time you have left and how much time has already gone by, and you can visually see it. So for myself, I set a 15-minute timer. And when I set it, it shows me, okay, 15 minutes. And it's already counting down, you see right here. But that red space gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I can see how much time has actually gone by. And when I set it up next to me, that is a good visual cue. And the more small 15-minute timers you set for yourself for small tasks, the more you will get accomplished. And it's a beautiful thing. So part of developing your writing rhythm is knowing what to expect of yourself, setting up tools that actually you're going to try and are going to help you during that time. And then it's the small goals. So this is one example of keeping a small goal, breaking your tasks up into micro tasks, they call them. So for example, I'll use a practical domestic example. If you are cleaning the kitchen, give yourself smaller tasks like put things away on the counter. 1, check. Okay, next task, wipe down the counter. Check. Next task, do the dishes. Now, depending on how many dishes there are, our sink gets pretty full. So I might set a 15-minute timer for myself, or honestly, I might watch a show while I do dishes. I do that often. And I tell myself in my mind, can I get the dishes done in the time it takes me to watch this episode? Whether it's a 30-minute episode or an hour episode, I try to keep it within 15 to 30 minutes or so if I can. How much can I get done in 15 minutes? And then you kind of start racing the clock to motivate you to move forward, not to put pressure, but to motivate you to keep going. And then you look back and you show yourself, whoa, I got a lot done in 15 minutes. It's a cool thing. So you can use that to prove to yourself that you can move forward and learn. The other thing I love to use, goal charts. I create these for myself on Canva. This is not a writing goal chart. I have to make some more of those, but I'm going to show you a money saving chart that we are using currently to save up to go to a trip to California in November. So I just pulled this image off of Canva. Again, I love that program. And I assigned, what is this one? Each line is worth $20. So every time we put aside $20, and we give ourselves incremental smaller goals. So here's each small goal. And then right here we wrote how much, this is how much we need to have raised by June, by July, by August, so that when we go in November, we're ready and we're not playing catch up. So you can use the same idea, whether it's a line graph or you make circles and color in circles or whatever. You can use the idea as you write also. So the writing can be 15-minute time increments. It can be hour increments, like, okay, I wrote for an hour today, color in the line. Or it could be a word count increment. It could be, I wrote 500 words today, color in the line. I wrote 10,000 words this month, and you can break the days of the month up and just color in the days. You can use a regular calendar if you like. You can put it in your own calendar, but having something visual to track your goals is an incredibly incentivizing motivator. I encourage you to try these things, both the timer and the small goal chart as well. Now, quick insight into what I experienced when I was writing my book, 25 Days of Jesus. It's a Christmas devotional, and it's got, of course, the 25 days. I'm modeling it after 25 days of Christmas, right? So I knew already in creating a calendar-based book or devotional that there needed to be 25 pieces of writing. So just literally taking one day at a time, what is the devotion, what is the scripture I'm using for day one? Day one, I'm only focusing on day one right now. So when I would sit down and say, I want to get day one done, I did a checklist of all the days, 1 to 25, and I left it open on my desk. Or actually it was probably more of like a Post-it like this on my computer. And every time I opened my computer, I could see, okay, I've done days 1 through 5. Get another day done, Jen. Get another day done when you sit down, the next time you sit down to write. The small goals of that book were broken up like that, as if it were for the chapter. So if you're writing a chapter book, if it's fiction, you can have check marks for the actual storyline, for however many pieces of dialogue you're using, or just for the amount of time you're going to dedicate to develop this scene or to develop the outline of what's going to happen next on the plot line. If you're writing a nonfiction book, it can be very topical, right? If you're writing a poem, just give yourself time to be creative. That's where I would implement more of the time increments rather than the word count, because it just depends on what needs to motivate you to finish whatever part of that project is next, right? But let's say, you're writing a poem or you're writing a song, or you just want to sit down to be inspired for a time that is just yours. Give yourself that time, make it happen, schedule it to make it happen, and it will happen. People have said to me, sometimes it comes across in a negative way, but I want to say this in a positive way. Nobody else will do it for you. Nobody else has your brain. Nobody else has your life experiences specifically to you. Nobody else is going to make time for you to do this but you. And I promise you that when you dedicate time to yourself to do something you love, it will get done. Try it and see. Go to practicalfamily.org/write-on, WRITEON, subscribe, write on subscribe, and sign up for our work together sessions. Come and join us. Come set aside time to do the writing that you've been wanting and longing to do. All right, jump into the Write On program, and more will come. More writer encouragement will come. I'll see you there. Take care.